All right, we're back with Larry Vickers, and we pretty much devolved into 1911 hell. Um, I remember my first 1911 was a Kimber Ultra Raptor, and there clearly, of course, I buy my first 1911 is the basically compact version.
Yeah.
No surprise there. It should be no surprise to anybody with respect to me, but it was definitely, I was always drawn initially to the beauty. And I know a lot of people give me a lot of crap for my overemphasis on the way guns look. And I don't have any shame about that, and I continue to do it. But I will say, to this day, I don't think the most beautiful 1911 that I've ever seen compared to the most beautiful non-1911 gun I've ever seen, 1911 wins hands down all day, every day.
Yeah, I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think in a lot of ways too, like you said, you do kind of have to become your own kind of armorer in a sense. You know, if you really want to own your 1911 and really get it to run exactly the way you want it to run. And I know to some people, especially in our microwave day and age, when we just want things out of the box, ready, good to go, and hit the road, which is it's understandable. I think there's something to that though. I think you're kind of almost forced to develop a kind of intimate relationship, no pun intended, with your firearm that you're not going to get on, say, your Glock. And then it's something about working with actual metals and woods that tend to be a little bit more organic in that sense. I know I'm getting kind of lofty and airy-fairy, but it's truth.
I agree. Hey, and by the way, a lot of people agree with you, because I can tell you the 1911 is still an extremely popular handgun. Very, very popular handgun. I mean, granted, we live in a Glock world, but I'm going to tell you what, second to a Glock, man, 1911s, they're very popular pistols. Yeah, no,
they absolutely are. And I hope they remain that way. I think they're needed. Quick personal question. I'm gonna be a little selfish here. I was at the gun store the other day, and I have a HK45 full-size tactical. I'm running and I went to the gun store yesterday, and I saw a used HK45 compact tactical, and I'm debating between, right now my bedside gun is the full-size version of that tactical gun. I have it fitted with a Omega K from Silencer Co. And my thought process is, why don't I get the compact version, since they are both 10, I could run both 10-round magazines in each of the guns, and then kind of get a smaller setup because it can be a bit unwieldy with the full-size version. What are your thoughts on that with respect to?
If you're not holstering it, I wouldn't worry about it. I'd roll with what you got.
Roll with what I got?
One of those things where I am going to carry it concealed on occasion or whatever. Yeah, you can definitely make the argument that the compact version is going to be a more concealable handgun for sure. The HK45 full-size gun is a duty size gun.
Yeah. And I love it to death. I think I just have this. I think it's good you brought that up, because I think my mind always goes to carry, even though I have no intentions on carrying the gun. I don't carry 45s. And I think in my mind, I always think, okay, how can I make this smaller? How can I make this a little bit smaller, which is fine with concealed carry, but not so much so. I mean, I think it's pretty much
you're grabbing that thing off your, in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
The slightly bigger pistol, not that big of a deal.
Absolutely. I low-key could just be looking for another reason to buy another gun.
Yeah.
So talk to me now about the Vickers Glock. That you're going to be coming out with now. I mean, those have been extremely popular as of late. I remember I was in Houston, I want to say about a year ago, when we were doing the RTF gray frame, and I saw one at a gun store, and I was like, I should buy this right now. And I was like, I'm going to wait and think about it a little bit.
Bad move.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I can't find them, and then when I do, the resale guys have pretty much. It's like the gun world's turning into the shoe world. So what's new now? What do you have on the horizon with respect to the?
We're revisiting the Flat Dark Earth.
Okay.
And we're going to revisit the first initial serial number range. Somebody's got some good music going on there.
You just got
AC/DC, right? They must have known.
No.
Big, huge AC/DC fan. Anyway, we're revisiting the Flat Dark Earth, and we're revisiting the initial serial number range. The initial Vickers Tactical Glocks from Lipsy's were Flat Dark Earth frame, black slide. and then had an LAV suffix serial number.
Gotcha.
The next one's coming out. We're going to revisit that. We're still going to keep things a little bit close hold because, we don't want to give away everything, this far out. But we're looking tentatively, I think, late May, and it's going to be dynamite. If you're a fan of the guns, you're going to want one, of course. If you were a fan of the flat, dark earth ones, beyond a shadow of a doubt, you're going to want one.
Gotcha. Now, I think I may have asked you this question, talked to you about this before in private more so than on the show. What was it about the Glock 17 that made you want to come out with your own series and versions of the Glock 17 and kind of add your touch to it?
Well, I've had people ask me, hey, if you had to go overseas, you're going to be overseas a year, and you had to sustain, you had no, whatever spare parts you brought, whatever is what you would need to sustain that pistol. What pistol would you take? It'd be a Glock 17.
Why is that? I know I have my reasons why, and I think I know yours. But for those who don't know, why is that?
It's really an excellent handgun. Yeah. It really is. It's not only reliable and more than adequately accurate, but it's very easily maintained on an individual level. An individual with not a lot of skill, you don't have to have a lot of gunsmith skills can maintain, swap parts out. It's a superb handgun. It really is. Yeah. So that. I'm a form follows function guy. Gotcha. And interestingly enough, you brought up 1911s. I would argue that the Glock 17 now is the 1911 of today. Bingo. Yeah. Because you can look at the contemporaries. Look at when the 1911 started, and what it was competing against, and then now fast forward to today, and really the Glock is kind of the standard. Yeah. And you know what's interesting? Next time you get a chance, I had a buddy turn me on to this. If you count each individual part, the 1911 and a Glock have almost exactly the same number of parts.
Are you serious? I never knew that.
Yeah, almost exactly the same. You got to count all the little bits and pieces, like the frame rail inserts that have been molded in. You got to count all that stuff because it's an individual component. Yeah, you might not disassemble it for maintenance purposes, but you got to count that. And when you do, it's almost exactly the same number of parts. Gotcha. It's just an excellent handgun.
Now, I'm going to put you on the block here, but so when you have guns like, say, for instance, the HKVP9, that there's no denying that, they're following suit in terms of what the Glock has been able to do. There's this striker fire craze now. I don't think it's a craze anymore. I think it's been solidified.
For sure. Yeah, without a doubt.
We're in age of striker fire.
Frankly, it's the standard now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Striker fired polymer frame, they're the standard.
Now, just kind of off the top, what do you think another gun company would have to do in order to kind of knock the Glock off of its pedestal? Because as much crap as we give the Glock, and I give them a lot of crap. I don't know anybody at Glock. I have no contacts at Glock. I'm pretty sure they hate me. But I always wondered in my own mind, like, what could a company come out with? And companies are trying. They're trying feverishly to kind of knock the Glock off its pedestal. One, do you think it's possible? And two, what do you think would need to happen in order for something like that?
To knock it off the number one spot, I can tell you, is not going to happen.
Gotcha.
And the reason, here's a couple reasons why. One, Glock has such a head start. Mm-hmm. Glock did a number of things well. They've done great marketing. They've reached out to law enforcement agencies. They've done the legwork and the groundwork to get themselves embedded. And the other thing is, the Glock pistol, it kind of checks all the good boxes. You could go, well, there's other guns with better triggers. Yeah, but the trigger's usable. It's okay. Yeah. They're reliable. The spare parts are readily accessible. The spare magazines are readily accessible. It's one of those things that just kind of brings it all together. And I tell you, as far as knocking it off number one, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. What you're going to see, though, is your guns like your HKVP9, which is a great pistol. Yeah. I really like the VP9. Yeah, actually, it's my favorite of all striker-fired polymer frame handguns is the VP9. That's my favorite.
It's mine, too.
But I really like it. I shoot it very well. But you're going to see guns like the VP9, the Walther, right, PPQ, the new CZ, which I think has a lot of potential. I saw it at SHOT Show. The gun, I think, has a lot of potential. You're going to see those guns come to the market, and they have a lot more features. and they're going to start nipping at the edges.
Gotcha.
Yeah, of Glock's market share. I think Glock is going to lose some market share of those guns, but they're definitely not going to be lost. They're not going to lose the number one spot.
Gotcha. So basically, it's kind of like they've been in a room by themselves, and they're never going to get kicked out of the room, but they're going to have to maybe start sharing some space in that room.
That's the way I see it.
Gotcha.
Absolutely.
All right. Absolutely. Well, man, I could talk to you about this all day. We should just have you on for the entire show. but I really appreciate it, and I hope you can come back on and we can do some more talking about some.
Absolutely, bro. Anytime. If I can make time, I'm here with you.
Awesome, man. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Larry.
Good to see you, bro. Be safe.
Absolutely. You too. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're talking hunting with sportswoman Courtney.